Close your eyes if you'd like, and let the worries of the day slip away. Picture yourself standing on the banks of a wide, shimmering river, its waters glinting under a golden sun. This is the Nile, the lifeblood of ancient Egypt around 1500 BCE. Tonight, we'll wander through the world of this ancient civilization, a place of breathtaking monuments and unrelenting hardship, of divine rulers and forgotten laborers. Our journey will take us through the dusty fields of a humble village, into the ambitious court of a remarkable pharaoh, to the shadowy secrets of a mysterious tomb, and finally, to the sacred halls of a temple priest. Each step will be slow, deliberate, and rich with the textures of the past. You'll have a chance to relax into the rhythm of history. Let the steady flow of the Nile guide you as we begin. Our story starts with an ordinary villager. It's a life so far removed from our own, you might find it hard to imagine lasting even a single day. Settle in, breathe deeply, and let's begin. Imagine yourself waking before dawn, the air already thick with the heat that will soon blanket the Nile Valley. You are a farmer in a small village near Thebes, in the year 1500 BCE, life tethered to the rhythms of the river and the demands of the land. Your home is a modest hut, its walls made of sun-baked mud bricks, rough to the touch and cool in the early morning. The floor is packed earth, scattered with reeds that crunch softly underfoot. There's no furniture, as you might know it, just a low platform of hardened clay for sleeping, covered with a thin mat of woven papyrus. The air inside carries the faint, musty scent of dried mud and the lingering smoke from last night's fire. A small heap of embers in the corner. As the first light creeps over the horizon, you rise. Your body already stiff from yesterday's labor. There's no time to linger. The fields are waiting. Pull on a simple linen kilt, its coarse fibers scratching against your skin. It's all you own, and it's already stained with the reddish-brown dust of the Nile's banks. Breakfast is quick, a hunk of dense, gritty bread made from emmer wheat, chewed slowly with a cup of watery beer. The only safe drink in a world where river water might carry unseen dangers. The bread is tough, baked in a communal oven shared by your neighbors, and it fills your stomach but leaves you wanting more. You step outside, the village stirring around you. The air is heavy with the scent of damp earth and the faint, sharp tang of animal dung from the goats and cattle tethered nearby. The Nile is close, its sluggish waters lapping against the muddy banks. But it's not a source of leisure, it's your lifeline and your taskmaster. Your work today, as it is most days, is in the fields, tending crops that will feed your family and fill the pharaoh's granaries. You carry a wooden hoe, its handle worn smooth by years of use, and trudge toward the patchwork of fields that stretch along the river. The soil is rich but unforgiving. The Nile's annual flood has retreated, leaving behind a fertile layer of black silt. But it's your job to coax life from it. You bend low, driving the hoe into the earth, each strike sending a jolt through your arms. The sun climbs higher, and soon your back aches, your skin slick with sweat that attracts clouds of tiny flies. These pests are a constant companion, buzzing around your face, crawling on your arms. You swat at them, but it's futile. The heat presses down, relentless, and your linen kilt clings to your legs, heavy with dust and moisture. The crops you tend, barley, emmer wheat, flax, are the backbone of your village's survival, but they come at a cost. You work in teams, your neighbors alongside you, their faces lined with the same exhaustion. The overseer, a man appointed by the local noble, watches from the shade of a palm tree, his staff a reminder of the quotas you must meet. Failure could mean extra labor, a cut in your rations, or worse, a debt you can't repay. The pharaoh's granaries must be filled, and your village's tribute is non-negotiable. You pause to drink from a clay jug, the beer warm and slightly sour, but it's all you have to stave off thirst. Life here is a cycle of labor, unbroken by rest. When you're not in the fields, you might be repairing irrigation canals, hauling baskets of silt to reinforce them, or gathering reeds for baskets and mats. Your hands are calloused, your nails cracked and caked with dirt. The work is endless, and the seasons dictate your rhythm, sowing, tending, harvesting, and preparing for the next flood. Even when the fields rest, you don't. There's always a wall to mend, a tool to sharpen, or a debt to settle with labor. Your home offers little comfort. At midday, you return to the village for a brief meal, more bread, perhaps some onions or dried fish, shared with your family, in the dim interior of your hut. The air is stifling, and the flies follow you inside. Your children, if they're old enough, are already working alongside you or helping their mother grind grain. Privacy is a luxury you don't know. The walls are thin, and the village is a chorus of voices, animal bleats, and the creak of wooden tools. Sleep, when it comes, is fitful, interrupted by the rustle of rats or the cries of a neighbor's child. The straw mat beneath you is thin, and the ground's hardness seeps into your bones. Danger is ever present, though it's not always dramatic. The Nile's waters can betray you, bringing too much flood or too little, each a threat to your crops. Snakes slither through the fields, their bites a silent menace. Disease is a shadow over the village malaria from the mosquitoes that breed in the river's pools, or infections from cuts that fester in the heat. Medical care is scarce. Local healer might offer herbs or chants, but their success is uncertain. You've seen neighbors weaken and fade, their lives slipping away as quietly as the river's current. Socially, your world is small but rigid. Your village is a web of obligations to your family, your neighbors, the overseer, and ultimately the Pharaoh, whose divine will shapes your existence. You're bound by custom and necessity, your status fixed from birth. Freedom is a distant concept. Your labor belongs to the land and its rulers. Yet, there are moments of connection, a shared meal, festival where the village gathers to honor the gods, their voices rising in songs that echo across the Nile. These moments are fleeting, swallowed by the grind of daily survival. As the sun sets, painting the sky with hues of orange and purple, you return to your fields for one last task, perhaps checking the canals or gathering stray tools. The air cools slightly, but the weight of the day lingers in your muscles. You look out over the Nile, its waters catching the fading light, and feel the rhythm of your life, unchanging, tied to the river and the land. It's a life of resilience, but one you might not endure for long, so far removed from the comforts of the modern world. As the sun dips below the horizon, casting long shadows over the Nile's banks, let us leave the toil of the village behind and step into a world of ambition and divine power. Picture the grand city of Thebes, its temples gleaming with limestone, their columns rising like sentinels against the twilight sky. Here in the heart of Egypt, around 1479 BCE, a remarkable story unfolds, one of a woman who defied tradition to become one of history's most extraordinary rulers. Is this the tale of Hatshepsut, a pharaoh whose reign reshaped Egypt's destiny? Settle into the rhythm of her story. As we trace her journey from a royal daughter to a king in her own right, her life woven with strategy, resilience, and the weight of a crown. Imagine the palace at Thebes, its halls cool and dim, the air heavy with the scent of myrrh burning in bronze braziers. Hatshepsut was born into this world, the daughter of Pharaoh Thutmose I, her life shaped by the expectations of royalty. As a young girl, she walked through courtyards where lotus flowers bloomed in stone pools, their delicate fragrance mingling with the dust of the desert beyond. Her education was rigorous scribe lessons and hieroglyphs, studies of religion and statecraft, all preparing her for a role as a royal wife or priestess. Yet even in her youth, there was a quiet determination in her steps, a mind that absorbed the intricacies of power. When her father died, Hatshepsut was married to her half-brother, Thutmose II, as was the custom to secure the royal line. The palace buzzed with whispers, its corridors alive with the soft rustle of linen robes and the murmured plans of advisors. Thutmose II was a frail ruler, his health faltering, and Hatshepsut, as great royal wife, began to wield influence behind the throne. She was no mere consort. Her presence commanded attention, her voice steady in councils where men debated Egypt's future. When Thutmose II passed away, leaving only a young son, Thutmose III, the path to power opened before her, but it was a path fraught with challenges. The role of pharaoh was divine, reserved for men who embodied the god Horus on earth. Yet Hatshepsut, barely into her 20s, stepped into this sacred space. She declared herself regent for her young stepson, Thutmose III, but her ambition reached further. In a bold move, she proclaimed herself pharaoh, taking the titles of king and adopting the symbols of male rulership, a false beard, a kilt, a double crown of Upper and Lower Egypt. Imagine her standing before the court, her figure draped in fine linen, the weight of the crown pressing against her brow, her eyes steady as priests and nobles bowed. some with loyalty, others with concealed doubt. Her reign, which lasted over 2 decades, was a time of prosperity and innovation. Hatshepsut understood that her legitimacy rested on divine approval and tangible achievements. She commissioned grand monuments, their stones hauled from distant quarries, their surfaces carved with her image as a divine ruler. The air around her mortuary temple at Deir el-Bahari was thick with the dust of chisels and the rhythmic chants of workers. As limestone cliffs were transformed into a terraced masterpiece, she ensured her name was etched into eternity, her statues gazing serenely across the Nile, their polished surfaces catching the sun's rays. One of her greatest triumphs was the expedition to Punt, a distant land thought to lie along the Red Sea coast. Picture the scene: a fleet of ships, their sails billowing in the salty breeze, setting out from Egypt's shores. The journey was perilous, the sea unpredictable, yet Hatshepsut's ambition drove it forward. The expedition returned with treasures of ebony, ivory, martries, and exotic animals, their strange cries echoing through the docks of Thebes. She presented these gifts to the god Amun, her offerings displayed in temple courtyards, the scent of resinous myrrh filling the air. This success silenced skeptics, proving her capability as a ruler who could expand Egypt's wealth and prestige. Yet ruling as a woman in a man's role was a delicate balance. Hatshepsut navigated a world of tradition and power, her every decision scrutinized. She surrounded herself with loyal advisors, men like Sentiment, her chief steward, whose devotion was whispered about in the palace's shadowed halls. She portrayed herself as both king and daughter of Amun, her divine lineage carved into temple walls, her statues blending male and female imagery. The soft clink of gold jewelry, the rustle of her pleated kilt, the weight of the Urias serpent on her crown-all were part of the careful image she crafted. Life as pharaoh was not without its shadows. The court was a web of alliances and rivalries, where loyalty could shift like the desert sands. Hatshepsut maintained peace, avoiding major wars, but the threat of rebellion or foreign unrest was ever present. She relied on diplomacy, her envoys traveling to distant lands, their sandals worn thin by long journeys. The constant pressure to prove her divinity and strength weighed on her, yet she carried it with grace, her presence a steady force in a turbulent world. As her reign progressed, Hatshepsut's legacy grew, but so did the challenges. Her stepson Thutmose III was growing into a man, trained as a warrior and eager for power. The palace, once her domain, became a place of subtle tensions, the air thick with unspoken questions about succession. Hatshepsut's final years are shrouded in mystery. She vanished from records around 1458 BCE, her death unrecorded. Some believe she died naturally, her body prepared for the afterlife with the same care she gave her monuments. Others whisper of political intrigue, though no evidence confirms such tales. Her tomb, prepared in the Valley of the Kings, was filled with treasures alabaster jars, gilded coffins, meant to carry her soul to eternity. After her death, her legacy faced erasure. Thutmose III, now pharaoh, ordered her images defaced, her name chiseled from monuments. Yet, her story endured, preserved in the stones of Deir el-Bahari and the records of her deeds. Hatshepsut's reign was a testament to resilience, a woman who carved her place in a world that sought to confine her. As we leave her story, imagine her temple standing silent under the stars, its terraces glowing faintly in the moonlight, a monument to a ruler who defied the odds. As the echoes of Hatshepsut's reign fade into the night, let us turn our gaze to the rugged cliffs of the Valley of the Kings, just beyond the bustling city of Thebes. Here, where the desert meets the sky, the ancient Egyptians carved their final resting places into the rock, hidden from the world above. The air is dry, carrying the faint scent of dust and sun-warmed stone, and the silence is profound, broken only by the occasional whisper of wind through the narrow valleys. Tonight, we delve into a mystery that lingers in these shadowed tombs, a puzzle that has captivated archaeologists and historians for decades. This is the story of an unknown queen, her tomb discovered in the Valley of the Kings, its secrets locked within sealed chambers and cryptic inscriptions. Settle in, and let the quiet allure of this enigma draw you deeper into the past. Picture yourself standing at the entrance to a tomb, its narrow passageway descending into darkness. The year is 1922, and the Valley of the Kings is alive with the clatter of shovels and the murmurs of excavators, their lanterns casting flickering shadows on the limestone walls. The discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb has just electrified the world. But another find, less celebrated, stirs quiet intrigue among those who study Egypt's past. This tomb, known to archaeologists as KV21, was uncovered in the early 19th century, its chambers partially explored but largely overlooked. Unlike the grand tombs of pharaohs, this one is modest, its walls undecorated. Yet it holds clues to a figure whose identity remains elusive, a woman of significance, perhaps a queen, lost to history's embrace. As you imagine stepping into the tomb, the air grows cooler, the scent of ancient dust mingling with the faint, earthy tang of undisturbed rock. The passageway is narrow, its walls rough-hewn, as if carved in haste. Your sandals scuff against the uneven floor, sending small pebbles skittering into the shadows. The tomb's chambers are small, their contents sparse compared to the treasures of Tutankhamun, but what remains is tantalizing. Two mummies, carefully wrapped in linen, now brittle with age, lie in simple wooden coffins. Scattered around them are fragments of pottery, their surfaces etched with faint hieroglyphs, and a few pieces of jewelry, gold amulets shaped like scarabs, their green and blue faience glinting faintly in the dim light. These objects whisper of royalty, but the inscriptions are incomplete. The names of the tomb's occupants erased or never recorded. Who was this woman, this possible queen, laid to rest in the sacred valley? The Valley of the Kings was a place for pharaohs, their tombs grand monuments to divine power. Yet women of high-status queens, princesses, or favored consorts were sometimes buried here too. The mystery deepens as we consider the clues left behind. The mummies, identified as female through careful study, suggest a person of importance, perhaps a great royal wife or a king's mother. One theory points to Ankhesenamun, the widow of Tutankhamun, known from historical records as a queen who navigated a turbulent time after her husband's death. Her name appears in other inscriptions, but none confirm her presence here. Another possibility is a lesser-known queen from the 18th dynasty, perhaps a consort of Amenhotep III or Akhenaten, her identity obscured by the political upheavals of her era. The tomb's simplicity adds to the enigma. Unlike Hatshepsut's grand mortuary temple or Tutankhamun's treasure-filled chambers, KV21 lacks elaborate wall paintings or vast caches of grave goods. Was this a sign of a hurried burial, perhaps during a time of crisis? The 18th dynasty saw moments of instability, religious reforms under Akhenaten, the restoration of traditional gods under Tutankhamun. A queen buried in such a context might have been interred quietly, her tomb sealed to protect it from looters or political enemies. The faint traces of hieroglyphs on the pottery suggest a name was once recorded, but time and perhaps deliberate erasure have left only fragments, their meanings lost like whispers in the desert wind. Archaeological efforts to unravel this mystery have been meticulous yet frustrating. In recent decades, scientists have turned to modern tools, analyzing the mummy's remains to seek answers. DNA studies, conducted in the quiet hum of laboratories far from the valley's heat, suggest a possible connection to the royal family of the 18th dynasty. But the results are inconclusive, the samples degraded by centuries of exposure. The jewelry, with its delicate craftsmanship, points to wealth, and status scarabs were symbols of rebirth, favored by royalty but offers no definitive name. The coffins, though plain, bear traces of gilding, hinting at a burial meant to honor someone of significance, even if her story was meant to remain hidden. Imagine the moment of burial, centuries ago. Priests move silently through the tomb, their linen robes brushing against the stone walls, their voices low as they chant prayers to guide the soul to the afterlife. The air is thick with the scent of natron, used to preserve the body, and the flicker of oil lamps casts dancing shadows. The mummy is laid in its coffin, wrapped in layers of linen, each fold carefully placed to ensure eternal protection. Amulets are tucked among the wrappings, their cool surfaces pressed against the cloth, meant to ward off dangers in the underworld. The tomb is sealed, its entrance concealed with rubble, and the desert reclaims it, the wind erasing all traces of the workers' footprints. Why was this queen forgotten? One theory suggests political motives. If she was Ankhesenamun, Her role as Tutankhamun's queen placed her at the heart of a fragile dynasty. After his death, she may have faced pressure to marry a successor. Perhaps Ai or Horemheb, men who sought to solidify their own claims to the throne. A quiet burial, stripped of grandeur, might have been a way to erase her influence. Her name chiseled away like Hatshepsut's in later years. Another possibility is that she was a minor queen, her status elevated only by her proximity to a powerful pharaoh. Her tomb, a footnote in a crowded royal necropolis. The lack of decoration could reflect a practical choice, resources diverted to more prominent rulers, a cultural shift. As Egypt's burial practices evolved, the mystery extends beyond the tomb itself. The Valley of the Kings holds other secret sun-explored chambers, hidden passages, tombs still waiting beneath the sand. Each discovery raises new questions, the past refusing to yield its truths easily. The unknown queen's tomb, with its silent mummies and scattered artifacts, invites us to wonder about her life. Was she a diplomat, navigating alliances in a palace thick with intrigue? Did she walk through Thebes' temples, her sandals soft against polished stone, offering prayers to Amen? Or was she a figure caught in the tides of history, her story overshadowed by greater names? As we linger in the imagined darkness of KV-21, the air cool and heavy with the weight of centuries, the mystery remains unsolved. The tomb's silence is its own kind of eloquence, a reminder of how much of the past lies just beyond our reach. The faint glint of a scarab amulet, the crumbled edge of a pottery shard, the whisper of a name lost to time, these are the fragments that draw us in, inviting us to ponder without demanding answers. Let this quiet enigma settle over you as we prepare to step from the shadows of the tomb into the sacred halls of a temple priest. As the mystery of the unknown queen's tomb fades into the quiet of the Valley of the Kings, let us step from the shadowed cliffs back toward the vibrant heart of Thebes. Picture the city at dawn, its skyline pierced by the towering pylons of the Temple of Ammon. Their limestone surfaces glowing softly in the first light, the air carries the faint scent of lotus blossoms and the distant murmur of the Nile, a steady rhythm that binds this ancient world together. Tonight, we enter a life far removed from the muddy fields of the villagia, life of divine privilege and sacred duty. Imagine yourself as a temple priest in 1500 BCE, serving the god Amen, your days shaped by ritual reverence, the weight of spiritual responsibility. Settle into this serene world where every gesture carries the echo of eternity. Your life begins before sunrise, as you rise in the priest's quarters within the temple complex. Your chamber is simple but distinct from the village hutsa, small room with whitewashed mud brick walls. It's floor tiled with polished stone that feels cool beneath your bare feet. A low bed of carved wood, draped with fine linen, offers a comfort unknown to the farmers toiling beyond the temple walls. The air is scented with the faint, sweet aroma of burning incense, a reminder of the sacred space you inhabit. You dress in a long, pleated kilt of the finest linen, its fabric soft and almost luminous, a stark contrast to the coarse garments of the laborers. Around your neck hangs an amulet of lapis lazuli, its deep blue surface etched with the ankh, the symbol of life, a constant reminder of your role as a bridge between the mortal and divine. As a priest of Amen, your status is one of privilege, but it comes with a mantle of discipline. Your day is governed by ritual purity, a state you maintain through meticulous care. You begin with a cleansing ceremony, stepping into a shallow pool fed by a canal from the Nile. The water is cool, rippling gently against the stone, and you pour it over your body using a bronze ladle, surface worn smooth by countless hands. The act is silent, deliberate, the splash of water mingling with the soft chants of other priests nearby. Your head is shaved, a mark of purity, and you anoint yourself with oils scented with myrrh, their fragrance clinging to your skin as you prepare to enter the god's presence. The Temple of Amen is a world unto itself, its vast courtyards and shadowed sanctuaries alive with the hum of sacred activity. You walk through colonnaded halls, pillars carved with hieroglyphs that glow faintly in the torchlight, telling stories of pharaohs and gods. The air is thick with the scent of frankincense, curling upward from bronze censers, and the stone beneath your feet is worn smooth by centuries of footsteps. Your role is to serve Amen, the king of the gods. whose statue resides in the temple's innermost sanctuary, a small, dark chamber accessible only to the highest priests. As a mid-ranking priest, you assist in the daily rituals, your tasks both mundane and profound. Each morning, you join others in preparing offerings for the god, carry baskets of bread baked fresh in the temple's ovens, their crusts golden and fragrant. There are jars of honey, their contents gleaming in the dim light, and bundles of lotus flowers, their petals soft and heavy with dew. You place these before the statue of a man, a figure of gold and precious stones, its eyes seeming to watch you in the flickering lamplight. The ritual is precise. You chant prayers in a low, rhythmic tone, the words ancient and unchanging, their cadence blending with the distant sound of a sistrum, a sacred rattle played by a priestess. The act is not hurried. Every gesture is measured, designed to honor the god and maintain the balance of Mod, the cosmic order. Your life is one of isolation, in some ways, despite the temple's bustle. You are set apart from the village, your interactions with ordinary people limited to avoid ritual contamination. Your meals, taken in a communal hall, are a step above the villagers' fair-roasted duck, fresh figs and wine sweetened with dates, but they are eaten in silence, a moment of reflection amid your duties. The temple provides for your needs. Its storehouse is filled with grain and linen, wealth built on the labor of those you rarely see. Yet this privilege carries its own burdens. The expectation of purity is unrelenting. It's a single lapse touching an unclean object. Failing to perform a ritual correctly could disrupt the temple's harmony and invite divine displeasure. Beyond rituals, you play a role in the temple's broader influence. The priesthood of Amun wields significant power, controlling vast lands and resources. You might oversee the distribution of grain to workers or record offerings on papyrus scrolls, your reed pen scratching softly in the quiet of a scriptorium. The air there is dry, the scent of ink and papyrus mingling with the ever-present incense. These tasks tie you to the economic and political life of Egypt, though your world remains centered on the sacred. You hear whispers of court intrigues, pharaohs like Hatshepsut consulting the priests. Their decisions shaped by oracles, but your focus is on the divine, not the mortal struggles of power. The temple is also a place of beauty and learning. In moments of rest, you might walk through the sacred lake, its waters reflecting the stars, or study ancient texts in the House of Life, a library of sacred knowledge. The rustle of papyrus, the soft glow of oil lamps, the murmur of scribes copying hymns, these create a serene rhythm to your day. Yet this life is not without its constraints. You are bound by vows, your movements restricted to the temple precincts for long periods. Marriage is permitted, but your family lives outside the temple, and your duties often keep you apart. The weight of serving Amen is both an honor and a chain, tying you to a life of purpose, but also isolation. As evening falls, you participate in the closing rituals, sealing the sanctuary as the god rests. The temple grows quiet, the air cooler, the scent of incense fading into the night. You return to your chamber, the stone walls now bathed in moonlight, filtering through a high window. As you lie on your linen-draped bed, the distant sound of the Nile lapping against its banks drifts through the silence. Your life, so different from the villager's toil, is one of privilege, but also discipline, a delicate balance between the mortal and the divine. Let this serene world linger in your mind as we prepare to draw our journey to a close. Closing as the moonlight bathes the temples and fields of ancient Egypt, our journey through this distant world comes to a gentle end. We've walked the muddy paths of a village, where life was a relentless cycle of labor under the Nile's watchful gaze. We've stood in the grand halls of Thebes, tracing the bold reign of Hatshepsut, a woman who carved her name into eternity. We've ventured into the shadowed depths of a mysterious tomb, pondering the forgotten queen who lies within. And we've lingered in the sacred stillness of a temple, where priests served as guardians of the divine. Each story, each life, is a thread in the vast tapestry of Egypt's past, woven with struggle, ambition, and quiet wonder. Now, as you rest in the comfort of the present, let the weight of those ancient days slip away. The Nile still flows, but its burdens no longer touch you. The dust of the fields, the chants of the priests, the secrets of the tombs, they fade into the soft hum of history, a distant lullaby. Close your eyes, if you haven't already, and let the rhythm of the past carry you toward sleep. The world of ancient Egypt, with all its hardships and glories, remains etched in time, waiting for another night's exploration. For now, rest well, wrapped in the quiet of the present, far from the sun-scorched banks of the Nile.